Welcome back. What's goody, everyone? We're here for another episode of Assassin 4. Hey, look, if you can't tell by the gear me and Dave are rocking right now, obviously we're going to be talking about some WNBA college women and some women's hoop in general today. Right now, we got the WNBA draft going on as we speak. We pretty much almost over with the first round of action. But look, man, we can go into it coming straight off of another good women's college hoop season. As you know, Days UConn Huskies were victorious and got the championship. They returned the trophy home. And following up with that trophy, we have Dave's very own Paige Bueckers selected as the number one overall pick to the Dallas Wings. So, Dave, I'm going to give you the floor first, man. You know, you got the championship. Paige, number one pick in this year's draft, following a tradition of UConn Huskies being number one overall picks. So, what do you think about Paige's overall journey and how she's going to impact the Dallas Wings as being the number one overall pick in this upcoming season?
Hey, I mean, no rant today for me. I think I let it all go last week. Yeah, it's only in women's basketball in which you can win the national championship one week, and then the next week you get drafted in the first round, or even drafted number one overall. So another UConn went Lady Huskies championship, another UConn player that's gone in the first round or gone number one. So it's a good thing, and I think that Paige is gonna make an impact right away, just like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese did last year. Her being paired up with Arika Ogunbowale, that's going to be a very tough duo in a very tough backcourt. The Dallas Wing, they had like a lot of key departures last year. They had a lot of injuries, a lot of unfortunate things like happened with their roster. They had a lot of players hooping. Even like some players that like had stepped up, like Maddie Siegrist had stepped up before she had gotten hurt, like towards the end of the season. They, like Satu Sabali and JC Sheldon, they ended up leaving. But you get back Dejanay Carrington, you get back some other pieces as well that will be able to help. It's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna be tough for them to try to get into the playoffs. I think for this season, I think they can compete for an eighth seed. I think there are actually a lot of teams that can compete for like that last maybe 7 or 8 seed. I think you kind of know who's going to be the top six best teams, but those last two seeds, I think there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for it. But Dallas is going to look real good. Shout out to our man Kurt. Page is coming to the Kurt League, so I'm looking for. I know they're looking forward to that. So yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's good. Yeah.
Now I'm just saying, Dallas hurting for a point guard these days, so I don't think it's going to equal out. But hey, at least they got something to be excited for, and at the point guard position in Dallas right now. So we can see how Paige fares going to the Kurt League, as you said. But just right now, we just see Haley Van Leef. She just got drafted to the Chicago Sky at the 11th overall pick. As we know, Chicago, they was hurting for some guard play last year, and I kind of think they fixed that hole. They was able to bring in Ken Vandersloot. She's a good point guard. She leads the league and assists. She's one of the best assist leaders in the league. And they also traded for one of my favorite players from the Mystics, Ariel Atkins. She's a good scorer. She plays defense as well. And then, of course, they just drafted Haley Leaf with the 11th overall pick. But also, they drafted, and sorry for not knowing you because, I'm just going on my Bleacher Report mock drafts. And we talk about this, there's been a slew of European influence in this first round of the WNBA draft. But with the 10th pick, they drafted this stretch forward out of Slovenia. So, as you can see, Chicago's game plan has just been basically we're fixing guard play and shooting to help surround Angel Reese and Camila Cardoza. So I think these are good moves and good picks for Chicago because, the rivalries between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, they like to keep these games competitive as much as so for not only the rivalry, but for the WNBA as a whole because it generates a lot of views, it generates a lot of money. So I think this was a good draft so far for Chicago, especially with injuries coming off a championship in the unrivaled league and winning Defensive Player of the Year in the unrivaled that 3-on-3 basketball league that seems to be a very good success in my eyes, Dave. I was really entertained with the hooping they was doing on unrivaled. I don't know what your thoughts were. They talk about what they could improve, but already getting Paige Bueckers, the number one overall pick to sign a 3-year deal with unrivaled. I think you say things are working, then they have good momentum right now.
No, for sure. For like a 10-week season, went on Rival. Just touching on the salaries real quick. I think the average was like 200K or like
Yeah.
200K what they were making like during those 10 weeks, and the
And
highest.
hold on, and don't
Yeah,
forget, they apartments were paid for, facilities for
yeah,
healing and
uh-huh,
training, and
exactly.
they had access to media. Like Andrew Reese has her podcast, so they had access to
Yeah,
media like mics and stuff like that while they was down there. So imagine you could pretty much 10 weeks. You're in the city of Miami, where it's pretty much warm all year round. You're near the beach. You're near some work, regardless how you play.
you are.
Depending what team you need some work, depending what team you're playing for. So so like it's a good deal. But I'm gonna go because it just goes into because we just figure out what's going to be happening in next year. Ah shit, and we right on time. What? Wait,
BT
what?
always
Hey,
BT always
Clutch's
right on time,
podcaster on
man.
the set. Clutch's podcaster on the set. Clutch's podcaster on the set. What's good,
What up?
BT?
What up, niggas?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, we was just talking about the W and everything. We was just talking about first we were talking about Haley just got drafted to Chicago and how Chicago was looking for good pieces for shooting and guard play, and we just counteract that with like how Andrew Reese came off the championship run and unrivaled winning Defensive Player of the Year. So it's like the unrivaled they got good momentum going on and everything. So
Facts.
um it's a really good step up for the league. You get to keep some of these star players home. They don't have to travel over to Europe and
Right.
anything like
Facts.
that. So yeah, I mean, I guess since you just got on, man, any thoughts about the draft so far? Anything you like to see? You slight or anything interesting that pops out to you?
Foreign players getting drafted, bro. I didn't see three getting drafted in the first
Yeah,
round. I
yeah.
seen,
See
a
that we
female
just
version
we
of Wimby
yeah
getting
we just
drafted.
tossed that.
So it's
Y'all
like,
did?
Svika, I think is her name from Slovenia.
Yeah.
Uh, just Svika. I'm gonna get that name right one day, but that I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that many. I knew the female version of Wimby. I don't know her name. I ain't trying to be
Oh, you talking
disrespectful.
about Dominique? You
Dominique,
talking
there
about?
you go. I expected her to go top three, you know what I'm saying? Because she can definitely hoop, but the other two I wasn't expecting, man. But the draft is going as expected, man. It's dope to see Haley and Angel back on the same squad.
Yeah.
That's
That's
dope to
dope.
see. I'm glad they back together, man. So yeah, I'm glad my Hoop State girl from NC State, she went to NC State, Sanaa Rivers get drafted. That's gonna be dope.
And
But the
speaking of
pick for me
NC,
that I like the most, yeah,
mm-hmm,
Isaiah James just got drafted too. Last pick of the draft.
yep,
But the last pick of the first round. But the pick I like the most, just because of the fit and the mentorship is Morrow going with Tina Charles, bro, in Connecticut. That's a good pickup for them. I think she'll be a
Yeah.
good
yeah.
mentor for Alyssa.
Yeah. Connecticut's been hurting because they have pretty much an exodus of that core that was giving them like semifinals and a couple
The,
of championship appearance
the
runs.
whole starting
They just
lineup.
never,
The
yeah,
whole
they just
starting
couldn't get
lineup.
the job done. So like the only players that they have
Yeah,
left from last year's team is pretty much is
Mabry.
Mayberry.
Mayberry, but they bring in Tina Charles as like kind of that vet. So like BT alluded to have the draft of Nissa Morrow and have somebody like Tina Charles out there who's like the second leader, all time scorer, perennial rebounder herself. So she definitely can be that just what they call it
A mentor for her.
yeah, mentor for her. Everywhere you go, Tina, make sure Anissa's following with you. Teach her, teach her everything you got
Man.
to.
Yup.
But yeah, to get Rivers, she's a good scoring guard. She had stints with South Carolina, then she had great stints with NC State. So yeah, I think Connecticut is doing very well for themselves in this year's draft as well. Um,
I think it's
as a
doing
Mystics
good
fan,
too.
I'm ecstatic.
Yeah,
I'm ecstatic. Um, we went chalk with them up again, Citron and Kiki with picks 3 and 4, but to get Georgia at picks number 6, she was a good point guard. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the size of it's the size of the dog and the person. I feel like she's really gonna bring that type of athleticism, that energy, because people are gonna look down on her because she's 5'6", but she's been showing it, especially when she went over to the SEC, that she can play with anybody. So I think once she gets acclimated to the speed and like the athleticism that's around her in the W, I think she'd be a good card as well. And she's not the first short guard to ever play in the W either. So I really feel like she's going to be able to transition as well. So I
Yep.
think you can't hurt by having a good point guard in the WNBA to help set your team up. So I think that was a good pickup as well for us. I think we did good with
I
new
say y'all
GM, new coach this year. So I think with these 3 picks, we did very well for ourselves.
y'all gonna be competing
yeah,
for a playoff spot, bro. For real, for real.
So what?
Y'all gonna be competing for a playoff spot, man. I can see that. The East pretty tough, man.
I
Well,
mean,
the W pretty tough, but I can see if everything comes together, y'all should be able to compete, man.
yeah, I've only seen something out of Shakira this year. I know she's been kind of going through injuries the last couple of years, but for what I saw at her in Unrival, and the coaches were able to let her play more of her game. She likes to bring the ball up sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
She gets a little bit of an outside game. She can drive to the basket. We just have her playing back to the basket. But if you watch her over when she plays in Europe, they kind of give her a little bit more free reins and let her like drive the ball, bring the ball up the court. So I'm hoping the new coach kind of lets her like have a little bit more of a leash and everything. Like just let her play her game, because she's a third overall pick for a reason in her draft, and I think it's time we really explore her overall potential and get her going.
I agree.
yeah. I think like
But
those last few spots. Yeah, I mentioned like we were talking about Dallas earlier, like Paige's fit with the Dallas wing, and like I said, they could be competing. I think the Sparks will be right there. I think like the Mystics could be right there because to me, like obviously you got you got Liberty, you got the Aces, you got the Lynx, you got I think Mercury are gonna be a lot better. Who else?
yeah,
Uh,
the Atlanta Dream, they got Brittany Griner
Yeah,
up there,
who else? I think Seattle. Yeah, I think Seattle's still gonna be like around number 6 or something, and then number
Minnesota.
8. Yeah, yeah. I think Minnesota probably might be the best. They might end up having the best regular season record. Like by the time we get to August, so or by playoff time. So, but I think Phoenix and Atlanta are gonna take next steps.
Hmm.
The Liberty and the Aces are going to be a problem. Teams like Seattle are going to be around. Chicago, with like a healthy Camila Cardoso, and you get, Angel Reese is going to take that next step along with Ariel Atkins and HVL. We'll see how. And then
Courtney.
we talked, and Courtney Vandersloot. We talked about shooting being a problem that the Sky had last year. I think they addressed some of that. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams competing for those last couple spots.
But yeah, so something, because you put it in the chat, PT, and that's one of the reasons why I was talking about on Rival. So we saw a lot of movement come from the inaugural season on Rival already, with like Jewel Lloyd going to the Vegas, Kelsey going to the Sparks. Seattle was making moves. Chicago was making moves. But we just saw on the screen earlier in this draft, there will be 105 free agents for next season.
That's
And
wicked.
one thing we know is facilities and travel is going to be one of the main causes of where players are going to go into next season. And
Hmm.
Golden State, they already got the facility. They already sold out all their tickets. They already got a good fan base. Like Golden State Warriors is already linked with them and everything. So, I mean, like I said in the chat, people better get their facilities up. They better have a plan in action, because this new generation of hoopers. They want certain things to have in place, especially with a collector's bargaining agreement coming up next season as well. So they're gonna put some pressure on some of these facilities to kind of like step their game up. So it's gonna be interesting to see what goes down in Miami next season for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little lockout, bro. To be honest with you.
No, I think it will be because they're not going to try out the gate. They're not going to try to pay the contracts that the women think they deserve. So it's going to be a push and shove type of thing. So that rivalry might be more popping than it is because there might be a lot of players trying to sign up just because of the cash flow they're able to get, just to kind of like keep themselves afloat for probably the inevitable with this CBA agreement coming up.
Yeah, Unrivaled and the Athletes Unlimited League, like
Mm-hmm.
too. Yeah, so yeah, especially if there's a lockout, those two leagues might have extended seasons.
Hopefully it's not, man. Hopefully it's not. We'll see, man. Hold on, bro. I might be a little bit late to the party on this right here, dog. I should have known. I might be a little bit late. But Paige and AZ, bro, their thing.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But you know, I did see them at the Mystics game together a couple of years ago. They was in there tight together. I thought they was just coming as as buddies, checking up the scenery and everything. AZ from the area and everything, but hand placement tells a lot about story.
That's right.
Hand placement. Hand placement tells you a lot.
Like, I knew they was best friends.
Hand placement tells you a lot about the situation.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, you tell us, Mr. UCONN, man. You should know what's going on over there.
Hey, look, man. I'm not an insider like that. Like I try to stay out of people's business. So yeah, I'm not up for speculation or innuendo. I'm not up for it.
I never.
Whatever it is whatever it is.
I never paid attention to it to the day, bro. When people was like, "Well, she at the table with her," I'm like, "They best friends, B. Of course she gonna be at the table." But then I seen that picture, I'm like, "Well, hey, whatever, bro. Whatever. It's whatever y'all want to do, bro."
All I can say,
bro. Never.
All I'm gonna say is Katie Martin wasn't at Caitlin Clark's table last year. That's all I'm gonna say. They best friends.
That is
That's
true.
All I'm gonna say.
Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall weren't at her table. Yeah, that's right. But also they were. Maybe that's because they were like eligible to get drafted. Maybe that was why.
I mean, I could share a table, nigga. You can share a table, nigga. Like they ain't get no invite. They ain't get no invite. They could have been at the table there. Like they got an invite. I'm just saying, son. But no, I think we're gearing up for another good year in the W, at least. And like we alluded to, a lot of player mill. We got Satu and Alyssa Thomas going to the Mercury with Kalia Copper and everything. So like, we're just gonna be looking at a good season. People are going to, of course, look at Caitlin Clark to see what she does this year. The Fever kind of loaded up as well during this offseason. So, I mean, I'm really looking for it. Usually after a good college hoop season from the women, also with a good WNBA season. So, we'll see what happens, man. You got the Liberty being the defending champs. Minnesota's hungry. The Fiesta, she's looking for some title. She got to get some title eventually, right, BT?
Facts. She do. She got to, bro. I'm getting tired of saying her.
It's tough for her, B.
Hey, agendas have been met. So, yeah. Now a new agenda is to get Nafisa Collier a championship. That's the new agenda.
Not the new agendas. Not the new agendas.
That's the new agenda right now.
Well, if anything pops out of this draft, we make sure we as we're watching this strong live, we make sure we let y'all know. But as these youngins are out here trying to what we got going on, Dave? What we got going on, Dave?
Nah, man, I'm just surprised Sellers is just like this, yo. Like,
I think it's her injury. I think it's her injuries, bro. Like, she had a lot of knee injuries at University of Maryland, so there might be a timetable where she's probably not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. So, and with there's not too many teams in the WNBA either. So I feel like she's still going to get drafted, but I'm surprised, but not surprised because of the slide, because she might not be exactly 100% at the start of the season, because the start of the season is in May, it's next month. So
Next month, yeah.
she played through the injuries. She skipped the All-Star game, so she's probably going to do some rehabbing right now. So she's just going to try to see. A team's going to take a chance on her. Teams are just in the W. You picking for right now, because you gotta make sure you got the talent you need on the court. You ain't really got time to be hand-holding and trying to develop players. So teams are going to make sure that they solidify who they want on the court right away, and then whoever is fortunate enough to get Cheyenne Sellers, because she slid, I think they're going to be they're getting a good player. So we'll see. But hopefully, if she gets drafted before we end this pod tonight, we let y'all know. But
yeah, I can't believe she's still on the board, bro. That's crazy.
I think she'll be
all I
on
know
the
is
board, though. I think
I
she'll be
know,
on.
Misters. We got another pick soon. We got another pick soon. Y'all know what the fuck to do. Bring her home. Bring her the fuck home.
Facts.
But yeah, man. As we watch these youngins, cement themselves and start their journeys over on the men's side, we got most of the playoff bracket solidified. We got a lot of players that are going to try to solidify their own journeys, their own legacies in this year's playoffs. For the sake of it, because we know the play-in still got to happen, so we can't outright, go see who's going to be the 7 to 8 seeds on both sides. We have highly favored teams that should make it off of what we've seen this year, but when you got for some of these teams, like one and done or two chances, and sometimes some teams falter through the pressure because they're just not ready. You never know. The play-in could be tricky sometimes. So just to start us off, we just going to talk about the 3-6 seed matchups and the 4 and 5 seed matchups. That cool with y'all?
Cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, bet. So let's start out in the East. We got another opportunity for somebody to start their superstardom against the New York Knickerbockers. We got the Knicks versus the Pistons. Cade Cunningham pretty much had one of his first breakout season, leading the charge to getting the Detroit Pistons into the playoffs after so many years of absences and so many years not just being a lottery, being like a top 3 to 5 team in the lottery. So the Knicks, on paper, they're a talented team, but we know they really don't have that much of a bench. They're coached by somebody that loves to run his players into the ground. And you got this young, hungry Pistons team, and they got Crash Out Stewart over there, who's liable to try to knock somebody out at any point in time. But what's your guys' thought? Because we know most of us don't like the Knicks at all. But for me, I'm ready for my Cade agenda to thrive. So I'm looking forward to him to have a good playoff this series and kind of establish us as one of the premier guards in this league. But what's your thoughts for this upcoming series, man?
I wonder what T think.
Yeah, bro. On paper, the Knicks have to win, right? Because I'm hearing rumblings, they were talking about it earlier. If the Knicks don't get a first round, his Tibbs gonna be out of there. It's already started. When you got Mikal Bridges, who you traded 5 first-round picks for, complaining about minutes during the season and how Tibbs is wearing you down. We saw it happen in the playoffs last year when they should have gotten to the conference finals, but they literally didn't have enough bodies to finish that series versus Indiana. So, and Detroit, sometimes when you have a team, it's their first time in the postseason, they don't know any better. And those are the most dangerous teams because they don't know any better. And they have a coach who should be getting coach of the year consideration, who got ran out of Cleveland and is on a redemption arc in Bickerstaff. You have a guy in Tobias Harris who, we can say what we want, but he's been in the postseason and he's been a positive influence on that team. You have a Tim Hardaway Jr. who's been in the postseason. You have Malik Beasley who's been in the postseason. So they have some guys that have been battle tested in the postseason. And at times in this series, they're going to have the best player on the floor in Cade Cunningham. And there's a lot of pressure on the Knicks to not only win this series, but challenge Boston in the next series. And there's a lot of pressure on Tibbs because there's already rumblings about people in their minutes. So all the pressure's on the Knicks. Brunson, he's been in and out at times throughout the season. We know OG Anunoby's a hamstring pull away from being out, just like he was last year. Cat, they won't go after Cat and pick and roll, man. Like I won't be surprised if they run a Duran Cunningham pick and roll or Stewart Cunningham pick and roll and get Cunningham matched up against Karl Anthony Towns. Mitchell Robinson really hasn't been much of a factor since he returned. He got injured in the playoffs last year. He's pretty much been a non-factor most of the season. The Knicks really don't have a bench at all, outside of like McBride, who comes and goes. And logically speaking, I'm gonna pick the Knicks, but y'all know how it is. Fuck the Knicks. Fuck New York City, bro. Detroit in 7, bro.
No, I was like, Knicks come very well win this series, probably in 5 if things go right their way, and they probably one of those teams that kind of need the series to end sooner rather than later because of their depth. But I'm just picking Detroit off the fact because I just see so many teams. Like we seen with Paul George when he was on the Pacers, he beat the Knicks with Melo in there, got his career going. We see it with Trae Young, he beat the Knicks, he got his career going. I feel like Cade Cunningham is poised to have that type of effect, especially, and maybe even Jalen Duran too. Me and T had this conversations plenty of time. Both of our teams should have drafted Jalen Duran way before the goddamn Pistons even got a chance to get him. Oh, but y'all did get Duran. Y'all traded him away. So
traded him away.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah. So because like as you can see, he's one of the best up and coming like power forward / centers in the league right now. No, he has the high motor. His offensive is improving. He plays defense. He rebounds. So I think he's poised for just as much of a good series as Cade Cunningham too. So like the Pistons really got some stars that really can really break this joint out. But Dave, Corey, like any thoughts about this series, man?
Nah, it's really pretty much just like how you said. Knicks, they need this to go at least 4 or 5 games. If it doesn't go 4 or 5 games, like it's gonna be hard. It's really gonna be hard for them to actually win the series. Where's Game 6 gonna be at? Is it gonna be in New York, Detroit? Yeah. They need
Detroit.
They need to win in 5 because if they playing in Detroit for Game 6, that's gonna be a hard out right there. They might actually take them in 6.
Yeah, if it goes 7, then it's a problem for New York. I think if Detroit's able to go 1 in the Garden during the first 2 games, it's gonna be a problem. I could see Detroit winning in 6, but I think the Knicks will have enough to win it in 5 games.
Yeah,
I think they'll have enough.
I will say this: it will be key for New York to win the first 2 games at home because if they split, this whole series changes, in my opinion. Because like T likes to discuss, that home crowd can make a difference in a series, and we know Garden, as much allure that it has, everybody treats it as a home game because they ready for the show. They want a lot of celebrities, a lot of star power that's in them seats, so they treat it as a home game more than like they're not scared of playing New York. But the Detroit Pistons fans have been waiting for this moment for years. So like they already sent out a message. They was like, we only selling tickets with people that got the Detroit, Michigan zip codes. Like if you don't have a certain zip code, we're not selling you tickets right now. If you get tickets, we're going to give you a refund. Like they making sure they have their people in these seats for this playoff run. So it will be interesting, man.
And granted, about the home court advantage thing, Detroit hasn't had a home playoff game, I think in 6 years. I think 2019 was the last time, but at that point they were an 8th seed. So this team is a lot better than what that team was. And I mean, Madison Square Garden. Yeah, people, like the opposing team can come in there and they treat it like, oh yeah, I need to put on the show because of what the arena is. But Madison Square Garden actually, like based on like how it was last year, I thought it was lit. Like based on how the games, like how the crowd was like during the game, I thought like it was pretty lit.
They're gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be lit. Like the New York fans, they rally, they talk a lot of shit. Like they don't give a fuck about their opponents. But it's like, it's like, for example, let's say when you was going back to like the old Golden State arena, or you was playing in OKC, you felt that crowd. Like you was like, oh shit, this crowd's gonna bring that energy. They're gonna bring that noise. Players in New York, it's like, oh man, I can make a name for myself. It's not like TD Gardens. It's not like TD Gardens. I put it like that.
The opposing star player, they come in and they want to play that villain role. They want to be a villain in Gotham. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of technical fouls in this series. I know that one.
Isaiah Stewart definitely going to get suspended.
Okay. We have to do parlays on this joint. What's the over or under how many games it takes for him to crash out? What's the over under in this series?
Shit.
3.
Shit, I was going to say 2, son. By game 2, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be a scuffle. Game 3 is gonna be the suspension.
Hey, and the one thing I like about the playoffs is that niggas speak their mind in the post game conferences, man.
There's a different level of energy.
I can tell somebody gonna call Karl Anthony Towns sweet. I already know it's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's coming, bro.
So like Karl Anthony Towns, he needs to be one of the best. He has to. It shouldn't be K. It should be Karl Anthony Towns being the best player on that floor. But we have to see. We just have to see because he has the most talent in me, and we know Jalen Brunson. He can be a good closer at times, and he actually had a hot run in last year's postseason. But he defensive when it's crunch time, he's a liability. At most times, you can shoot over him. Sometimes you can damn near call him a cone at some junctions in the game. So. I don't know what Jalen Brunson we're going to see, but we're just going to see how,
Speaking of Brunson, who y'all going to put on him? I'm putting that Thompson twin on him.
Oh, yeah. Cut him off. No, like, all pause and everything. Cut him off at the head, like.
Yep, I'm putting the Thompson twin on him, for real.
Either Thompson or Ron Holland, or like split time between those two.
Yeah, I forgot about Holland. Yeah, he pretty good between the two.
Yeah.
But I just go Thompson straight up because
I'm going Thompson, bro.
Because you could put K on somebody like Mikal or OG because they both slashers, so there are some like tendencies to maybe catch them like foul trouble there, but they're not going to be on the same like shifty needs as Brunson's going to be. So you can play a little bit safe over there. So I can see having Thompson on Brunson starting out. Yep. I think that might be a good thing for him. But man, oh yeah. So shout out to my girl Cheyenne Sailor. She's going to Golden State. So I feel like that's great for her to go to a facility and team over there. So take all the time you need to get back up. Cheyenne, you did a lot of good work for Maryland. So shout out to you. And then now we got Pow going to the Atlanta Dream.
That's
a good pickup.
That's a good pickup.
They got a good solid shooter, rotation player going to the Atlanta Dream to help with that core over there. So, okay, I see you, Atlanta. But back to the NBA fellas. So now they're gonna make some noise for sure. They're gonna make some noise for sure.
Alicia Gray, bro. Oh my goodness, boy, you surprised me, Alicia Gray. I'm telling you, boy, you surprised me, boy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know.
It be the one. It be them, man. It be them, BT.
Yep.
I ain't know.
Lisa Great, boy. Yes.
I ain't know till last season. I did not know. But man, we have another Pacers and Bucks series, y'all.
Dame, go ahead.
No timetable for Dame.
Yeah.
No timetable for Dame.
God dang it, bro.
No timetable for Dame, man. But honestly, I feel like the Bucks don't need Dame for this series. I don't think they need Dame. And if you think I'm about to come on here and pick some Midwest terrorists, you out your damn mind. Look, the attacks are reprehensible. And I can't really say what I want to say because
Let's go.
You and Corey gotta go band for band. No, you and Corey gotta go band for band. He got his band one episode. You gotta get his band one episode. What you gonna do about it, Dave?
Look, man, I ain't picking no damn Hamas, Hamas Burton. What the hell, Burton? I don't give a damn about none of that. Man. The attacks are relentless. They're reprehensible, and there's no justification for terrorism. There's no room for that in the playoffs. There's no room for that. And so I'm picking the Bucks in 6. The Bucks in 6.
Okay, Trav. I see.
Hey,
I see you, Trav.
hey, man, I don't have the book right now. I'm emptied out. I'm emptied out, bro. I don't have no book. I don't have no bars on me. I have none. On me. But I'll get the book.
Don't
back
worry,
later.
we're gonna get you some inspiration soon, Dave. But T, with Dame being out, what should the Bucks strategy be against this Pacers team? Because Dame was one of the big factors of what Giannis kind of wanted to have as a teammate, like that scorer, that closer. But I'm thinking he's not even going to be here in this series because he's been out for so long. So, what should the Bucks strategy be in this series?
Run Giannis at the point.
Yeah.
But
And think of that.
you,
That might be their only one. That might be them.
do y'all think that incompetent ass coach gonna do that?
He's actually already done it towards the end of the season. If you actually watch some of the Bucks games in the season, they already. I don't know if Doc Rivers did or Giannis said, "Fuck it, I'm taking over." But Giannis has been kind of running point forward since.
Hey, this sound like 2008 to me.
Since the Dame injury.
Win and
Yeah,
spite.
so Giannis is really taking point. But speaking of Mr. I almost got her there.
Almost tricked the game.
We're gonna give
game.
you credit for the 3 wins you're about to get, Doc. We're gonna give you credit for that. For the 3 wins you're gonna get in this year, we're gonna give you credit for that. But go ahead, T.
But he's gonna lose a game that he has no business losing. The Bucks are probably gonna be up in the game and they're gonna trick it off
Game
because
one.
Doc Rivers is gonna make some horrible adjustment. Look for Milwaukee to use Pat Connaughton. He played well their last game of the season. He was kind of like out and out of rotation, but they're gonna need somebody to step up, and he has the experience to do it. He's one of the few guys that can put the ball on the floor at the bounce. Don't the Bucks have Kevin Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He can kind of be an X factor just because he's a guy that can also get his own bucket and do some things on the offensive end because it can't just be Giannis alone. Bobby Portis will be back as well, coming off suspension. He's fresh. They're going to need him as well. And if they can get anything out of Brook Lopez. Indiana, we know they're going to push the ball, so Milwaukee's going to have to goon the game up. Like they're going to have to slow it down. They're going to make it half court. They're going to make it ugly. That's really the only way they can win without Dame because without Dame Lillard, they just can't keep up with Indiana's pace. So this series is really going to be about tempo and officiating. Are the refs going to let Milwaukee goon the game up, or are they going to have a short leash as far as the whistle goes? So, I mean, Giannis can do it, but it's going to have to take one of them series from Giannis, like we've seen before versus Boston or what he did in the finals. He's going to have one of those series for Milwaukee to win. And I assume if he has a supporting cast to help the edge.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that Boston series because I'm interested to see how Pacers is going to try to tackle Giannis because what we saw what Boston did was they just made him like a high volume shooter. Like he had to take a lot of shots to get to his like 30, 40 point games, but they weren't like always efficient. And Pacers got players like Siakam over there. They got marketing and stuff like they got wings and like forwards. Mattering, my bad, like wings and forwards. So you think that's like going to be a strategy they're going to lean on for right now? They kind of like they're going to try and mutt the game for Giannis as well because they know he's not like a shooter, but Giannis has improved that mid range.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to build a wall, but they might have to push their wall out just because Giannis's improvement with his mid range. He's more than capable of knocking those shots down now. He's developed a comfort level with the mid range, so they're going to build a wall, but in the past, the wall was usually at the rim. They might have to push that wall out, so they might run some zone. Rick Carlisle's not afraid to run zone. We've seen it even going back to like 2011 when he was in Dallas. So Indiana, I won't be surprised to run some zones, defense, use Miles Turner as well on Giannis, but you don't want to use too many fouls with Miles Turner. So it's going to be an interesting strategy to see how Milwaukee can free up Giannis and if Doc Rivers can make any adjustments. We know Rick Carlisle is going to come up with something, whether it's a zone or some type of wall or just pack the paint in and dare Milwaukee shooters to beat you, dare somebody else to beat you. I mean, without Dame, they really don't have anybody dynamic, so it's really going to be up to Giannis to really create for others as well. So It's going to be an interesting series. It's two teams that are familiar with each other. I don't think they really like each other.
No, they don't.
They don't.
I just don't know if Milwaukee has enough. So as much as I hate what the Halliburton, I'm about to say Pacers, probably in 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think Dame not being there kind of hurts Milwaukee right now. And then, to be honest with you, I haven't seen the impact from the Kyle Kuzma trade. Like I see him getting buckets, but as we saw with the Lakers, and even when he's in DC, like he plays one side of the ball most of the time. He doesn't really play defense as much, and he takes unnecessary shots, and he can actually like stall the ball out sometimes with how he plays. So Milwaukee didn't get what they thought they was getting. They thought they were just going to get a younger version of Middleton, but Middleton played good team, complimentary ball, and he was like pretty much a better defender and a better shooter than Kyle Kuzma. So he's going to be looked to be like Giannis' new Robin, especially with Dame being out. But I don't know, until I see something different out of him, I feel like he's going to be somebody that's going to be more focused on trying to get his buckets rather than trying to help the team win in the postseason. And he might be one of the reasons why Glenn Rivers does something stupid and calls a game, because he might try to run some sets for Kyle Kuzma for no reason, and then it just fucks the whole momentum up for the Milwaukee Bucks. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that happens. So we'll see how
I
that
have a
goes.
question for anybody who wants to answer. So if the Bucks do get bounced this series, is Giannis request a trade out of Milwaukee?
I think it comes down to if Glenn is going to be there or not.
I don't even think it's that, Corey. I think it comes down to we've seen over time Milwaukee trying to max out this roster with the Bucks. You know, they brought in they won the championship when he brought in Drew. They had Brook Lopez been there for years. You know, at some point he's going to be done with. You really don't have any trade assets in Milwaukee, so you pretty much at the peak of where this team is going to be. And the person that you traded a lot of assets for is not even playing in the series, and it's Dame. And it's not Dame's fault because he actually had a bounce back this year, but it's like Giannis is going to be able to fuck on the road this offseason thinking, do I give myself with Dame, who's going to be older next year, by the way, one more chance to get this right? And we just, we fire Doc Rivers and then we get another coach because, as we know, the coach market is opening up as we speak. Or does it's like, I just want to go somewhere where it's, younger players, but they're all-stars or superstars. There's younger players. Things are already, in place. They just need like a star like me to come in to get them over the top. I think those are two decisions that Giannis is going to have a hard time deciding what he's going to do with his future, because when you hear the rumblings more than once, there's something there. How he wants the front office to do better, and if the front office is not doing better, he wants out of Milwaukee. If anything else, because as a person as good as he is, we know there shouldn't be no MVP voters fatigue for Giannis.
Yeah,
Giannis, the way that he righted the ship where Milwaukee was early in this season, it shouldn't have took this long or a Dame injury for people to recognize how good he really was this season. He should have been up there a long time ago with Shea and Joker this season. So he might want to establish his stuff in a bigger market, so people will have to see him be great more consistently going forward.
What do y'all see him going?
Miami.
He might pull some strings to get to New York somehow. Like, there's opportunities.
What about Houston?
And after what happened with
Houston's definitely in play. If Houston doesn't get
the
red.
Yeah, Houston.
And I think Houston rather would get Giannis. They're not gonna have enough pieces for both unless you're giving us some mad people. That's not gonna work. You're gonna have to get one, because lucky for Houston, you got Reed and Jabari Smith, who you can package up with like some picks and like some throwaway contracts to get like a star like a Giannis or a KD. If you want both, you pretty much doing what Phoenix did and just disposing the roster.
True.
And I think after what Phoenix did, nobody wants to do that right now.
Yeah.
Watch out for Dallas too. Dallas is going to make a push for KD and Giannis if he's available.
Yeah, I can see
Does
that.
Dallas don't even have picks or nothing for that?
They have Anthony Davis.
They got assets.
Lively.
Yeah.
They got assets.
They got assets you can
Jackson.
put. They got Lively.
Yeah,
We
PJ
want to push that off
Washington.
for yeah. They got
Two of those biggest
star
going.
players and assets.
They got young
Hmm
players. They got young players that can be assets to other teams like Christie and Hardy and
So pretty much
some
that would
other
have to
guys.
be a
Yeah,
3-team.
It could be.
probably to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, was there any other team that, I mean, if OKC doesn't get the job done, they have the
Ooh,
picks, they have the talent, young
yeah.
players. At some
Yeah.
point, OKC will have to swing for if they don't get to the finals this year, if they go out in the
Gotta
second
take it
round
young.
to the Clippers or Denver, if they don't at least get to the conference finals, really, if they don't get to the finals, but when you have a season like they had, you have to get to the finals. But if they don't even get to the Western Conference Finals, they're gonna make a move because you're gonna have to at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
watch out for OKC.
Yeah. OKC can't make the same mistakes. Yeah, they can't make the same mistakes like they did with the KD, Westbrook, and Harden trio. It's like when you got that many assets Pressey has, you gotta make a trade for a star player that solidifies this team. Like you
Honestly,
have
I think they
to.
go. I think they
So
go back and get KD. That would be a good move for them. If it doesn't happen, they go back
he's
and
the
get
cheaper
KD.
option. He's the cheaper
Yeah,
option. He's the cheaper option out of anybody because KD's age and we don't know how much time he has left
he
and
can
what's
be the
been
strong
happening to
vet in the
him lately.
room.
So we'll see. But sure, since we're talking about the West, man, let's just go ahead and talk about. We could start with this Clippers and Denver series, man. Clippers being the Golden State Warriors last night to solidify themselves in the playoffs and make sure they don't have to play in the play-in. This is an interesting matchup. Kawhi, as T keep alluding to, Kawhi's looking like old Kawhi. He's playing healthy. The midi is mid-ranging. He's playing great defense. He had a clutch defensive possession last night with a steal and keeping the ball in play so they could waste more time off the clock. James Harden has been playing recently, and they still got players like Norman Powell, and then Zubac has been one of the better defensive
Yes.
centers this year, and his offensive game has improved as well. And Denver, they just got rid of their coach Michael Malone. There's been some rumblings over there about how Russell has been getting minutes and everything, so they got a little bit of chemistry issues over there. So it's poised to be a kind of a upset brewing with the Clippers being the Denver Nuggets. But how y'all feel about this series?
Is the
Clippers
Clippers
in
beating the
6.
Nuggets really an upset though?
Clippers in 6.
But know why I say that, T? Because how everybody talks about Joker. They got to stay on that business. If Joker's your 3-time MVP,
He needs to get out of
his
the
only
series.
matchups is
Is
Yeah.
Murray playing?
exactly not only that, and what you say, T, and what's your biggest knock against Joker, T? What's your biggest knock?
That
Mm,
would be the
Defense.
50-win team.
And who's a 50-win team right now?
the Clippers.
Clippers.
You see my point.
Mm.
You see my
Yeah.
point. So regardless of
stand on
how us feel about it, because we know ball, we know about matchup, we know
But the
about
thing
matchups and
is,
everything. The way how people keep protecting, they keep protecting Joker. They want to say that whatever happened with the coaching is not his fault and everything. With your only matchup concern is somebody that's not even an all-star or superstar level, there's no Joel Embiid in these playoffs. You don't even got to see somebody like Giannis, unless somehow the Milwaukee Bucks make it to the finals. You don't have to worry about a team like Boston unless you make it to the final. So if you're going to be the best center in the whole Western Conference, and you telling me you're not going to be able to get past Zubac and you're not going to be able to get past the Clippers, I'm sorry. People need to talk about Joker, especially after how you gave up a double-digit lead in France when you could have beat Team USA and solidified your legacy, but you coughed that up too. I'm
They
just
were up
saying.
20 in the second half.
Exactly. So no, I'm gonna stand on business. As much people want to talk about all these other stars like Anthony Edwards, KD, LeBron, Steph, and all their shortcomings. Nah, if you are 3-time MVP, we're gonna keep you on. We're gonna keep you on record too.
Is
So
Murray playing?
they better
That's
get it
fair.
done.
That's
No
fair.
excuses.
But for the Clippers, do we trust James Harden in the playoffs? Are we going to trust him on this playoff run?
That's the
It-
thing, bro.
That's my biggest concern. That's my biggest concern. 'cause
Honestly, this is the
I-
best
yeah.
Harden's looked in years, though. This is the best
And
James Harden
he's
we've seen in a minute.
And it's
No,
not
I
just him.
Yeah, I know, like, because it's gone under the radar how well he's played like all year and where he's been able to, along with Kawhi, to get
It should be all
the
NBA.
Clippers.
To be
He
honest
should
with
be,
you.
he should be all NBA. I think he has a strong case for that. but it's still the playoffs. And just off the body of work of what in big moments where what James Harden has done in big moments in the postseason, it's just hard for me to trust him. I know Kawhi.
I think Kawhi being healthy, it makes a bigger difference because in the past, James Harden was the go-to guy in those moments, and then he didn't have the coaching that made better adjustments down the line. When you have Kawhi and Ty Lue, you give the ball to Kawhi. And what problem was when James Harden and Philly was, Embiid is not a point guard. He's not a wing player. He has to get the ball from somebody. So he wasn't able to drill the ball down and be able to make the play. James Harden can actually pass to somebody off to like Kawhi, as long as Kawhi is healthy. And you still got players like Norman Powell too, who could have been an all-star this season. So even if James was having his usual James Harden moments, which he probably will, probably not, speculating, you have Kawhi Leonard now, and he's healthy. He looks like he's healthy. So as long as he doesn't have a major injury, I think that's the big difference what we might see out of Harden this postseason, because he can actually take a step back with the whole, being that perimeter scorer go-to person like he was in the past.
And that's also why I keep asking is Murray playing? Because if Murray's not playing, you don't have to worry much about Harden on defense like that.
I get all that, man. I understand all of that. But if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then damn it, it's a jig. So like
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm just saying. I think Kawhi might be. I think Kawhi might be the difference, because when he was at OKC, he had Russ and KD to defer to, which helped their team out. But when he was in Houston, he was the guy. We saw what happened in Houston. When they wanted him to be kind of the guy in Brooklyn, he got injured. He was a no-show at that. When he was in Philly, he fucked up. Tremendously, he fucked up. So I think you know why.
We know why.
You know why.
Yeah, Mr. Almost got her there.
Give him credit for getting the game 6 though. Give him credit again for game 6. Give him credit at least getting that far. Give him credit.
Fuck his credit.
Hey, give him credit for at least putting the condom on. Give him credit for that.
Oh my God, yo!
I told y'all. This the off season.
Until Joker loses.
I'm just saying exactly.
Clear out.
I'm just saying, like, people, because you can kind of hear people. It's like, well, Joker's going against the Clippers. They're not as that. I ain't trying to hear that shit. When you're a 3-time MVP, you find a way. Because again, if it was all those other players like I listed, and they do the same shit that Joker did,
so I don't want to hear excuses,
exactly.
Bro. Like
the excuse is going to be
on the radar all year.
Joker doesn't have an all-star playing with him. It's going to be that's what we're going to hear. If they lose in 6, Joker doesn't have an all-star playing with him. He doesn't have any other talent on the team with him. Just outright disrespecting and disregarding.
And you know what? And you know why? And you know why I call BS on that? And you know why I'm only calling BS on that? Because don't use that same excuse when he wins as the reason why he loses. Because you wasn't saying when you pop that shit up when he wins, you're not going to use that for a reason he loses. Because if he wins with that same starting lineup he did a couple of years ago, he should still be. The only thing difference is the bench, and that was y'all old GM and y'all old coach's fault. So he better again. He's a 3-time MVP though, Corey. And when you're a 3-time MVP, you supposed to make up for all those losses you had for a couple seasons ago.
So did y'all hear this? So over the in the off season, apparently their GM was trying to trade Michael Porter Jr. and also Murray. He was looking to move them and try to get another star player to come in, but he was unsuccessful with doing that.
I'm not surprised.
Well, Michael Porter Jr. is who he is at this point. Yeah. He's a taller,
he maxed out.
J.R. Smith, and Jamal Murray's had some injury trouble. Yeah, he has good moments in the postseason, but he also wasn't that good versus Minnesota, especially when they needed him to, because Jamal Murray cannot close that series out because Jamal Murray is the closer. When they needed buckets against the Lakers to get to the finals, it was Jamal Murray. When they needed to beat the Lakers last year, it was Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray was the reason they were up 20 in Game 7. But then what happened? Anthony Edwards locked them up, and the whole game changed.
Hey,
so Jamal Murray
that Jamal Murray mean?
So Jamal Murray really is the head of the snake for Denver. Like if you can control Jamal Murray, you can beat Denver because Jokic is going to put up his numbers. We all know
Yeah.
that. But also, we saw Jokic get locked up by Nas Reed in Game 7 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because you already know
just
Clippers
saying.
was going to put them in mad pick and roll. Clippers going to put
Yeah.
Oh
them in
yeah,
hella pick and roll. They're going to pick and roll them.
and
They're going to spam that shit.
Zubac rolls the basket hard, so Joker's gonna have to be on point for his pick and roll defense because Zubac rolls hard in the basket.
Yeah.
He has
But
good
what?
touch around the rim. Like Zubac is a really good player. Like he's not an all-star, but he's
Yeah.
a really good, solid big
Yeah.
who can do a lot of things, and he's not gonna be afraid to push and bang with Jokic in the paint. So, it's gonna be very interesting to see how that matchup goes because Zubac's not chopped liver.
Not at all.
No, he's not.
Okay, I have one question. Does Ben Simmons even see the floor this series? Because I didn't even know that motherfucker was on a team. Like, where did this come from?
The only floor he's gonna see is the floor of the strip clubs in LA.
Yeah. Instead of minutes plays, it's gonna be dollars thrown.
Nah, I'm about to say, me and you, Corey, we come from a common place. I was about to say the same shit.
I was challenging, brother. I saw it in the book. I saw it in the book.
Ben Simmons look like one of them dudes that you probably have fun hanging out with the strip club. You can go to flirt with Ben Simmons. You can put some money up on the floor, have all the bitches in the section. But we're talking about basketball, not strip club etiquettes. That nigga's trash, bro.
Hey, yo.
Hey,
Strip
man.
club etiquette breakdown is crazy.
Hey, we all.
Hey, man, it's apparently it's a lot of etiquette's going around lately. Some I don't approve of, but we ain't gonna talk about it, man.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about
We
it.
ain't gonna talk about that shit.
That's what I thought about.
We're not gonna talk about that etiquette. And some of y'all are filthy and need to be locked up. Some of y'all need to be locked up, man.
Strength of schedule was
my man's had the full like RPI index, bro. And quad 1, quad 2.
Yeah.
Quad 3.
Hey, bro. I'm sorry, bro. That nigga said Sarah J like Vin Diesel with a wig on. I fell to the floor.
Hey, man.
Nah, man, the joint that killed me, he was talking about that one joint. It's like, yeah, she crossed over to it. And I was like, this bitch, did he just compare this bitch to Julius Erving? Like, what the fuck are we doing, son? This man was talking like ABA, NBA shit, man. I was like, hold up, dog. We gotta stop this.
Hey, man.
Oh my God.
Hey, man, them fans gotta stay their ass inside, bro. They stay their ass up there.
Nah, lock them all up, bro. Put them in the raft, the Phantom Zone, and Space, Arkham, all of it. But all of them, man. Like, ain't no way, bro.
My man thought he was the Black Joe Lenardi, dog.
Glasses on and everything.
Oh my God, dog.
Oh, man.
This man.
That's a sick nigga, bro. He don't leave the house, bro.
He don't, bro.
He don't. Bro.
I know that search engine is filthy over there, man. Ain't nothing over there with less than 3x on that search bar. I'm telling you that right now, bro.
No, he got viruses on that computer, bro.
Straight up, bro.
He got four. Oh, T, you know he the type of dude that got 4 accounts linked to OnlyFans off the gate, bro. Straight 4 different payments on tab, bro.
Sick nigga, bro.
Nasty work.
Looking at Pornhub for research is crazy.
Gotta stay their ass off the internet, man.
The internet ain't for everybody, man. I tell you that the internet ain't for everybody, man. Oh God! But look, man, let's reel this back in. Let's reel this back in because what might be one of the series that people look forward to. We got the Wolves versus the Lakers. So Ant-Man going against another great NBA player in LeBron James with Luka added into the mix now that he's on the Lakers. Ant-Man, which nobody kind of foresaw, led the league in 3-point makes this year with 320. So the evolution of Ant-Man has continued. It was looking rocky for them at one point. We didn't think they would make it in the first top 6 seeds. They was looking real play-in-ish as a squad, but Ant-Man towards the middle of the season, especially after the All-Star break, he kind of rev it up. And hey, look, man, when he was beating them allegations off the court, it fueled him and got that team going on the court, man. But you still got a team like the Lakers. They got over 50. They got 50 wins this season. new coach in JJ Redick. Again, they had the Luka trade that kind of helped push them this season. So what are we looking for? Because, you know, in a way, their teams kind of mirror each other because both their post players ain't really like shot makers. They really need other players to feed on the rock. But Lakers, as of late, has playing more small ball with like either Rui, Vanderbilt, or LeBron playing the five, and then a lot of small ball, a lot of switches and action going on. And Minnesota, the kind of the same way, they kind of play better when Nas Reed's at the five. So what's your thoughts of this? Because I think this is really an interesting matchup. I know some people wanted the Warriors and Lakers to go at it, but one team did their job. So now we got the Wolves and the Lakers. So what's y'all thoughts of this series, man? I think this is going to be really exciting.
This is a series. This is going to be the Julius Randle series, and here's why. Like you said, the Lakers do like play small. Randle, the last time we saw Randle in the postseason, he was a disappointment in New York.
Yeah.
If there's ever a matchup where Randle could really get off, it's versus Lakers team because they're going to be small. Like Jackson Hayes, like Julius Randle should be able to punish Jackson Hayes. Honestly, take Gobert off the floor, and you can put Randle as a small ball five or Nas Reed, whatever. But this is really Julius Randle's the X factor because if Randle can play well and really get to the bucket, dominate the paint, get whatever Laker bigs in foul trouble, Minnesota can be competitive in this series. If Randle's on bullshit, it'll be Lakers in five. It's pretty simple. There's really not much to analyze. We know what Ant-Man's going to do.
Yeah.
We know what Luka's going to do. We know what LeBron's going to do. We know what Austin Reeves going to do. McDaniel should be solid as well. I think Nas Reed will be solid in this series as well. This really is going to come down to Julius Randle, and can he dominate his matchups in this series, and also, give Ant-Man another scoring option because JJ has done a good job as a coach. He's going to dial up some shit that he hasn't dialed up all season, and also Ant-Man has struggled versus the Lakers this year so far. I don't think it will continue in the postseason. I think he will have some big games, but also he's going to be the focal point of the Lakers defense. And so somebody's going to have to do it. And look for a combination of Nas Reed and Randle to really have to step up if Minnesota's going to make this competitive. I think this series will go anywhere from 5 games to possibly 7 games. It really just depends on what Minnesota's going to do and what adjustments they make and how they utilize Randle.
Good one. I didn't even think anything about Julius Randle. I was just going to more look at it from the coaching standpoint with this series. You have a young coach in a JJ Redick, and you have a Chris Finch who not has been all the way, but he's been in this place before with teams that should be better than what he's putting out there. And we've seen how he's actually implemented. We've seen how he's grown as a coach. So I want to look at more of the coaching aspect from it. Like whenever you have a Luka on the floor, what is he dialing up defensively to really hold Luka? And whenever Ant is being taken out of the game, like who is he gonna have step up? You said Julius Randle, so we got to see how he dials that up and what JJ is gonna do to counteract that. So I'm looking at coaching from in this series. I think that is gonna be some good coaching as we're gonna get to see. I'm expecting some good adjustments. So that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean,
so how y'all think Luka? My bad, not to cut you off there. I'm just interested to see what Luka's first series as a Laker is going to be because, as you know, he's been set up to be like that next superstar to wear the purple and gold. So when you wearing that jersey at the level of Luka is, championships are expected. Like LeBron James and AD wasn't going to be recognized unless they won a championship with the Lakers when they went to LA. Now Luka, he might not even want to be in a Laker jersey. We know how he felt about being in Dallas. He wanted to stay in Dallas and all that, but he is where he is now. So I guess, Dave, you want to continue and then finish up, follow up what you was going to say. Like, how do you see Luka being with his first time on the Lakers impact this series?
I think for this series in particular, I think he's going to be dominant. I think like what Luka has shown you in the playoffs, I don't think that he's going to come up short. I think that he's going to be able to obviously put up, that 30, 10, and 7 or whatever, like the numbers that he would he'll put up in the postseason. I got Lakers in 5. I think the Lakers will win this series in 5. But if Minnesota, I mean, we talked about obviously, what Ant-Man is going to bring to the table. Is Julius Randle going to play a factor? Like T was saying. I think one guy, if he turns it on like he did last year, I think Minnesota could possibly win, could possibly force us to Game 6 and even Game 7. And that guy is Dante DiVincenzo. If you can get him going like he was going in New York last year, I think Minnesota could possibly, bring this to 7 games. But I still got the Lakers advancing.
And my question for you, BT, is this the first time we kind of see in LeBron's career where he can finally be like, I'm not going to say he's going to be a number 2, but kind of finally take that step back a little bit? Because I know he played with great players. Like he had Kyrie, he had AD, he played with D-Wade, Chris Bosh, but Luka is like that different caliber player, and like he's one of those top 5 guys in the league right now. Like, so do you see LeBron still have to be like that focal point for the whole team, or is he able to kind of take a step back for once in his career in the postseason?
He honestly should be able to take a step back, because not only do you got Luka, you got Austin Reeves too, and that's my X factor because Minnesota gonna put their best 2 defenders on LeBron and Luka.
Yeah.
And that third guy, which is Austin, should be able to cook their third best defender. So LeBron should definitely play off the ball more. He should definitely, just pick his spots. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this series play out. But I definitely think LeBron should be able to take a step back because Luka is a whole lot younger. Austin Reeves is a whole lot younger. They definitely should be able to take that pressure off. And LeBron has gotten a lot better with his off-ball cuts, getting to the basket, finding his spots in the corner. Like LeBron could be a spot up shooter now for some reason. Like this nigga got better at shooting at 40. You know what I'm saying? So if he just spotting up in the corner or on the right, left wing, that's a good spot for him. Or even like on the block somewhere. So
yeah, I think we're going to see more of Bron's IQ during this postseason because, like you said, BT, like he knows the game, so he knows when to do cuts. He knows when to pick his spots. He is a better shooter now, so it's not like he's going to be a liability like from the corner threes or at some point LeBron gets hot from shooting outside from outside. So I think inevitably we're going to see that coming. So I think a lot of people are going to be picking the Lakers as they should because of you got Luka and LeBron James teaming up, but we know Ant-Man. A lot of us, including myself, picked, Phoenix to beat Minnesota last year. And, Ant-Man stepped up and kind of announced himself to the world that he's arriving, he's here. I know this is a different task because, the Lakers is not as dysfunctional as Phoenix and all that. But, Ant-Man's starting to become that dude. Like, he backs up a lot of that talk. So I won't be surprised either. Like, we see another, like, level that Ant-Man taps into because I think one of the players that learned the most from being on the Olympic team was Anthony Edwards. Like, and you can see in his game, and he's learning how to like try and beat the double teams. He's learning how to be a player out there. That's still kind of his weakness because you kind of see it. You saw it even in that Denver game that Denver choked. You kind of see like the double team at the right moment that he kind of turns the ball over, but. I kind of want to see like he makes any adjustments. Like T said, like Lakers had his numbers this season, but I feel like man, it's the postseason. Ant-Man takes it to another level. So I'm kind of waiting to see what we see out of this series. I think this might be the best series if it goes past 5 games. In my opinion, we're going to see a lot of good hooping coming out of that.
Ant-Man's introduction on Court of Gold. That's all I'm gonna say. This is where he has to show that up. This is where he got to show that up.
Yeah, better stand down. He the truth.
Yeah, he got to stamp that shit here.
Yeah.
All right. So we covered, the teams that solidified their spots in the playoffs, and we know we got Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Boston Celtics waiting to see who their opponent's going to be from the play-in. Okay, before you got on BT and T, we pretty much called the East play-in the Trae Young Invitational because once again, Trae Young's either in the 7 or 8 spot, and then you pretty much got the same teams. You got your familiar cast. You got the Chicago Bulls, the Miami Heat, and the Orlando Magic
Orlando
in the
Magic.
play-in as well. So it's the East play-in looking like it's going to be chalk with Orlando making it, or can you see some upsets with like the Miami Heat or the Chicago Bulls upsetting somebody from that AC?
Okay, BC, go ahead.
Dog,
Orlando
Kobe,
really,
Kobe, but
Orlando really should not be a 7
Free
seed, but
Kobe.
we know that they were banged up for
Yeah,
a good
Yeah.
portion. They didn't have
yeah,
Wagner, they didn't have Paolo. The subs have been injured. Some of the other guys have
yeah,
been injured. So Orlando was playing as a top 4 seed in the East before all these
yeah.
injuries took place. They're really not. They're on paper they're a 7 seed, but they're really not. So I think Orlando will take care of business, and then, I mean, if that Atlanta Miami matchup, I think Miami is going to beat Chicago. I think Spo will find a way to get it done. Is Spo good enough to get a game against the Hawks? I just don't know if this Miami team has enough to do it. I think Trae Young will be the best player on the floor. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
chalk. I think Atlanta will make it. And they'll get bounced in 5 versus Cleveland. And
Okay.
then Orlando will get bounced in 5 versus the Celtics because they just, one thing about Orlando, they have trouble scoring at times, especially at the guard position against Derek White and
Yeah.
Drew Holiday. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say though, my
Go ahead,
bad.
Dave.
No, I was gonna say if we do get Orlando versus Boston, that's gonna get real interesting because Jaylen Brown is dealing with an injury right now. So I think that could possibly, but also I mean like Orlando's also missing Jalen Suggs and some other folks. So
I don't think Boston even needs Jaylen Brown for that series. They can honestly rest him unless for some reason that joint gets to 6. Like you got Porzingis back, you got Drew Holiday, you got Derek White, and then you got Horford, you got Pritchard coming off the bench. So it's like people keep forgetting that the Boston Celtics has one of the best starting 5s throughout the whole damn league. And missing one star, they still got one of the best starting core in the league. So as long as Porzingis doesn't get hurt as well, I think Boston is fine if they want to say, Jaylen Brown, you can take this series off unless for some reason you get to 6-7. You feel me?
Yeah, not true.
All right, let's kind of wrap this up. Like going to the West now. I think we could speak for each other. Like the most intriguing matchup is the Memphis versus Golden State series matchup in the playing game. Who do y'all? Because I don't care. I can say this. I don't care about Sacramento versus Dallas. Dallas might I don't want to talk about this shit. Prove me wrong next episode. I'll give y'all respect next episode. Let's just keep it with Memphis and Golden State.
Both of them making it in.
What does it take? Who wins that game? Both of them. Okay.
Honestly, Golden State's playing a dangerous game because, if you lose, you gotta play Oklahoma City, or you might have to play a Sacramento team. I know they're not the same team, but this is a team that's considered a rival to Golden State. They knocked them out of the play-in last year, and they still have Levine who can get hot. They have DeRozan who can get hot. They have Buck who can get hot. Sabonis is going to do what he does.
They got Sabonis.
If you're the Warriors, you're playing a dangerous game. You should have handled business at home yesterday, but now you're in this position. Now, if you win, you get a Rockets team that's young and inexperienced. So a lot of people would probably pick the Warriors in that matchup versus the Rockets, and actually that'll give them an easier path to the conference finals because you would probably play the winner of LA and Minnesota, and Golden State has a good chance of beating both of those teams, in my opinion. I think the Lakers would be favored over Golden State, but I think that would be a good series. And then a lot of people might actually take the Warriors over Minnesota if they matched up. So if you win against Memphis, you have a decent path to the conference finals. If you lose, you're playing a dangerous game, and then you play Oklahoma City in the first round. And Memphis, honestly, has gone into Golden State and beaten them in the play-in tournament scenario before. So John Morant's not afraid of this moment.
Nope.
And like I said, the Warriors are playing a very, very dangerous game. So this is actually a toss-up game to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned all those good points because I was going to allude to those too. Because, like, Golden State losing impacts this whole playoff things because Memphis I could see tricking out. But if the Warriors trick out and lose to Memphis and then they got to see either a Sacramento team that has nothing to lose and a Dallas team that has nothing to lose, especially because of matches because Dallas got all the bigs over there, and they can feed the paint. I know they don't got the guard play and everything like that, and Jimmy Butler might make a difference, but you talking about you got one shot. You give AD to play like AD for one game against a smaller lineup. Oh man, that's trouble. That's trouble for Golden State. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens because they play tomorrow, right? Memphis and Golden State.
Tomorrow. Yeah, they play tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna see. So yeah, we're gonna see what's going on with that series, man. But look, man, NBA playoffs is here, baby. It took a minute, but we finally here. We can't wait to get these takes off, man. But unless anybody else has anything to say, man, I think this was another great episode. Covering the WNBA. BT, I don't know if you saw South Carolina back-to-back between Bree Hall and Sanaa Fagan going to the Fever into the Sparks. So, just keeping up with the drafting. And and for you, Dave Chin, she just got drafted as well tonight from UConn.
I saw Aubrey Griffin got drafted to the Lynx.
Yeah, and Chen got drafted too. I think she's going to the Valkyries too, or something like that. So
okay.
Yeah. So So everything looking good, man. Golden State might be a new favorite team to watch over. A lot of good people over there. But yeah, man. What we tell these people about the pod, man? Oh, my bad. Go ahead, T.
Shout out Draymond Green. You see what foul baiting gets you? Damn. Adam Silver got the white bands out of Draymond's crib right now.
Hey, you know what's funny, T? Draymond always talking about other people not ready for the moment, but when the moment comes to him, what do you do with that shit?
Man, fuck that nigga.
Hey, I got a random shout out.
What's up, Corey?
Shout out to Regal Theaters. Y'all came in.
Oh my God.
Y'all got me my tickets. That's all I needed. Now I get to watch Anakin Skywalker kill younglings and 4DX.
Hey, don't bring that shit on the pod, man. We know why you going to see the movie, man. Don't try to get us banned with that shit, man. We do not support the harm of any kids, man. The Sassing for a podcast love the kids, man. We like to see the kids grow up and to be successful. And we are a supporter of all kids' futures.
My only final thought is Hamas, pajamas, como te llamas, Bucks and 6.
Shout out to Brandon Jennings.
Hey BT, everybody got something, man. You got something before we leave, man? I'm trying to make sure everybody eats tonight, man. Like
these niggas said it all, but I would say this, bro. Fuck the Knicks. Go Pistons.
All right. Very respectable. BT always got one.
I'm gonna keep it short. If you're the ops, I'm praying for your downfall. That's all I gotta say. You know who they are, so let's get it. Man, what we tell these people, Dave?
You already know what it is, man. Subscribe to the pod. Like this episode. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe button, hit that like button if you like this episode. Make sure you leave comments about what you like and what you don't like and everything. Make sure you follow us on any of the podcast streaming platforms. However you like to watch, whether you like to watch on YouTube or like to listen on any of the available platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow us and check us out there. Social media. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook. So yeah, make sure you just stay locked in with us, stay up to date, tuned in, more content on the way. I do want to say though, I will make it to some playoff game some way. I'll make it to some playoff game in some way. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it will be. If it ends up being Detroit, you already know what's up. You already know how I'm gonna show up in that. You already know what I'm gonna do in that arena. You already know.
I already know, Dave. I already know. Don't tell him. We gonna try to save it. We know you're gonna get on.
If you're familiar with what goes on, if you're familiar with what they do during timeouts in Caesars Arena, then at least one of the things they do during the timeouts, you already know what's up. So yeah. If I happen to make it out there,
yes,
you know what's up. But yeah, we appreciate everybody for watching, listening, and hey man, playoffs is about to be is underway, So Make sure you stay tuned with us, stay locked in with us all throughout the playoffs.
Real hoops.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, man. Before we leave, shout out to all the new players in the WNBA, drafted or undrafted. Your journey starts tonight. So, get ready to get the season started in May. And be on the lookout for me with some new content maybe later on this week. We talk about a lot of teams that were, they was handling business in the NBA season this year. But I gotta take a talk about some teams that was some big disappointment. So we're gonna tune in for that, y'all. But this is Assassin 4. I'm with my crew, D, Dr. Esquire Day, 910's finest, BT. Got the biggest plug in Charlotte, my boy T Hatch. And then, I got my boy from college, man. Shout out to C Note, man. All love to the bro. Just straight from PG. We Assassin 4. We out.